Please, no more weird shit.
That's how Shane's feeling going into this podcast episode. Welcome to
I
the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Shane.
And today we're talking about some pretty weird shit. We're
I
talking
guess
about
so.
obsession.
The weirdness didn't bother me. I like some weird stuff, but this one, yeah,
Totally.
this will be an episode with some disagreements, I think, which will be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Always makes for an interesting episode.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yes, we're gonna talk Obsession, the new horror movie directed by Curry Barker. We're gonna do a non-spoiler review to start, and then we'll give everyone fair warning, and we'll do a spoiler talk at the end of the episode, so we can get full in-depth thoughts on the
hmm
movie. But that way, if people haven't seen it yet, because it just came out like last week, so uh, that's the plan. Also, quick announcement. Next week's episode, our topic is Christopher Nolan, and the episode is Memento Stellar. I picked Memento, Ryan picked Interstellar. Uh, that's what we're covering. Two great movies. It'll be fun to revisit them and talk about them next week.
I'll tell you what, I bet you next week we're gonna have a lot less disagreement. We might have some differences in small opinion, but those movies fucking rocks.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're excited for that. And this one, I think it'll be an interesting discussion. This movie. So
Totally.
yeah, do you want to, talk? Should we just get into Obsession right now?
Yeah, yeah, let's do it. So, for anyone that doesn't know, this is it's directed by written and directed by Barker or Baker
Barker.
Barker, who has
I
done
think I think he's not related to Clive Barker,
right,
but I'm
right.
not sure.
Um, but he's done a bunch of stuff on YouTube before. Shorts like The Chair and Enigma, and then a feature length thing called Cereal and Milk, spelt like serial killer. Um,
Yeah,
and
and comedy sketches.
and comedy. Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's how I think he started on YouTube
Oh,
and everything. It was with comedy sketches, but sort of maybe higher production value than like a traditional YouTube comedy sketch. And then I think he's transitioned to horror over the past few years, maybe,
that makes sense. Interesting. Um,
which
yeah,
totally makes sense with the tone of this movie.
yeah, it does. Uh, yeah, so he's done a bunch of cool stuff, and I've seen Enigma and The Chair before from just finding them on YouTube. I was gonna maybe go and watch Cereal and Milk, but I never ended up doing that. So, but have you seen either or any of his stuff before this?
No, I believe I've seen little clips of him from his comedy sketches,
Mhm.
like just little clips here and there, but I haven't watched any of his like horror short films or the Milk and Cereal like what a feature YouTube feature that he did. So this was my introduction, and I kind of was just like, feel like this movie looks cool. It was getting good reviews, good hype, so I just wanted to go into it, and I think we've had slightly different experiences because we all
Yeah,
we know is our ratings,
yeah,
which I guess we'll give at the end. But
yeah.
I think we had different experiences with this one.
Yeah, totally. Which it's funny. I don't often rate the podcast movies until the podcast episode is live. I just like to throw the link to the podcast on there and all that stuff. So often Shane's in the dark about my ratings going into this. Although I would guess that you probably would have thought there was a discrepancy either way. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. I saw your rating. I think you saw it like Thursday or Friday, and I saw
Yeah,
it maybe like Sunday. So I had seen that you had given it a very positive review, and so it probably just made me even more like, oh wow, this movie's probably going to be good. And then I was a little bit disappointed by the movie in
mm,
various ways that we'll get into. But to start on a positive, well, I guess we should just say the basic premise. There's this guy, he's kind of a pathetic nerd loser. He he likes a girl that he works with. She doesn't like him back. He goes to a whatever, some sort of a crystal store and buys a One Wish Willow, which was that a real thing?
no, no.
Okay, it was made up for the movie. But they mentioned it was from the 80s. I thought maybe it was like a real 80s like little toy thing that they used as inspiration. But he makes a wish that she loves him, breaks the thing, and then it turns out this is not just a toy. This is a real thing, and shit hits the fan. That's basically the premise.
Yeah. Importantly, the wish is that she loves him more than anyone, right?
Well, yeah,
So,
loves him more than anyone in the fucking world, I think he says.
yeah.
And then she really, really does, and things get great. It's called obsession for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah, classic monkey's paw premise.
Totally. Yeah, and it definitely but well, I should say, so my experience seeing it, I think that's a good like overview real quick. And that's kind of all I knew going in.
Yeah,
And I saw it Thursday night, it like just came out. I knew that it was getting like good reviews, but I didn't really take that. I was like, I don't know, like honestly, a lot of movies kind of start getting like ads on Instagram and crap, and like we'll just get good reviews right away. So I was kind of like, I'm sure it'll like I don't know, right? I don't
you
really
can't
know.
always trust the hype.
Yeah, exactly. And I went in, and to be honest, I find the premise despicable. I kind of hate the premise. I think this sounds like a terrible premise for a movie. And
In like the fact that it's overdone and cliche, or the fact that it's like the character is despicable.
both actually, but more on the line of like it's a little cliche and like like I don't really give a shit. Like, it's like not really my thing, I would say. And so I went in, I would say, with probably overall low expectations. And I went in like Thursday night. I went to like a fucking like 10:30 showing or something.
Whoa.
Um on like a Thursday night. I had to wake up in the morning. Not a good idea. But
Oh,
yeah.
so you've been delirious ever since.
Yeah, pretty much. But so and I saw it in the Dolby theater, so the sound
Oh,
there is pretty impressive, I think.
and this is a loud.
This
This
is
movie uses
allowed.
loud noises often.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest, and my partner was home in bed when I got home, and the lights were all off in the apartment. And I'm gonna be honest, I was pretty fucked up. I was like, I was like not having it. I turned on all the lights. I shaked myself to bed that night and somehow made it to work in the morning. But no, but seriously, I did go in with really low expectations, and I think that certainly helped with honestly, like the first like 10-15 minutes of the movie is really just this premise that I don't particularly like, and I knew I didn't like kind of going in, building up, right? And so, he snaps the thing, and pretty much up until that point I was like not in it at all. I was like, I don't really care about this relationship or the interactions of these characters. I thought the writing was like okay ish. Like, I wasn't really that into it in the beginning. But then pretty much once he snaps the thing, that there's a scene right after that that just kind of introduces kind of maybe a little bit of the chaos that might be going on. It's definitely pretty mellow still, I would say, but that I was pretty into it from there. And then I think I just kept rolling, and
Mm,
and there's some really awesome
interesting.
stuff that I'm excited to talk about in the spoilers, I think, about what left me fucking rocking in my socks when I left. But
Yeah, shaking, shivering in your timbers.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's interesting. I almost had maybe the exact opposite experience because I had seen a trailer. Not like, I don't know if it was maybe a teaser trailer. I think I was watching basketball and it played,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps. And I watched it and I was like, it was like a 30-second trailer. And I was like, oh, that looks good. Looks well shot. Uh, interesting. I mean, the premise is very like overdone, but could depends on how it's executed. And I thought it looked good. And then it's getting really good reviews. You loved it. So I'm like, all right, this will probably be a very good movie. And I went on a Sunday afternoon,
Mm.
and I will say this is probably good to bring up at the beginning that this movie is extremely underlit intentionally. It's extremely dark. There are scenes where I think you are intended to barely be able to see characters' faces. They're basically silhouetted in shadow, and you. But my theater, I believe perhaps a bulb
Oh.
was needed to be replaced. And so the image was too dark. It was not ideal. It was not the ideal way to see the movie. And I think I'm trying. That is not ultimately the reason I didn't like the movie, but it's a factor because with the
Mm.
movie being so intentionally dark, there's no room for error. So seeing it in even a slightly less than ideal viewing experience really made it like there are certain scenes where you just can't see characters' entire faces, and or at least I couldn't. That's not most people would not have this experience, but I couldn't. And there were times where I think that was intentional, but there were also times where I was like, oh yeah, I just can't really make out this person's face because the projection is poor, basically. So that was not ideal. Uh, but also, yeah, the movie is very dark overall as well. So if you're thinking about if you're listening to this in the future and you're thinking about watching this at home, do not watch it during daytime. You won't be able to see a thing.
I think that's a really good warning. Also, I think I know you went to North Attleboro, didn't you? The
I
the showcase.
I did. Yep.
I think
Because
I know I've been like in a theater there, like at least once or twice now. Like pretty much every time I fucking end up there, I'm in this one same theater that has bad projection.
interesting. This was Auditorium 1.
That's possible. I don't remember
Okay.
the number, but
There's
yeah,
like 12. It's like a 12 theater,
yeah.
12 auditorium
Is it
theater,
on the
whatever.
left or the right? I feel like it's on the right when I go in, but I could be wrong.
It's number 1, dude.
Yeah, dude. Not any. No, it's not. It's fucking the last.
Yeah, yeah. I believe this happened at the same theater one time to me in the past, and I think it was Auditorium 2. But I
Oh,
don't
interesting.
remember what movie it was. But I feel like it's happened to me once before. It may have also been another like horror movie or something
Mm,
that is dark. If you're going to see some, the friggin' Sheep Detectives and this happens, you're probably not going to notice it that much.
yeah,
But yeah, this movie had very little room for error. So that was unfortunate, but I think I still have genuine gripes with the movie that do not have to do with the poor presentation.
totally. I think it's also worth mentioning that for my showing, even though it was a late showing, um, it was like the day. It was essentially. It felt kind of like a midnight release. It's probably. I mean, it's probably the closest experience I've had to like a midnight release since they don't really do those anymore. But it was like
Yeah.
10:30 horror movie. It was like kind of a packed theater. It was in the Dolby thing, and there was a lot of moments where the audience was, I think that I feel this way with both comedies and with horror is that the audience can make such an impact, right? If the
Mhm.
audience is like gasping or like reacting and all that stuff, I think that that just naturally seeps in a little bit, right? Like in a comedy when everyone's laughing, you're like, how could I not laugh? It's a fun time. And then in a horror movie, when everyone is gasping and reacting, it like amplifies that shared experience. Um, and so that definitely, like, I think it would be, I think I would have had a different experience. I still would have liked the movie, I'm sure, but similar to you, I think, but on the literally the very opposite spectrum. I think I would have liked it, but not maybe found it. I mean, I'm just gonna say, I think this is my experience seeing this in theater. This is probably the scariest theater experience I've had since I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think of something scarier in recent years. Not like I don't know, the
Hereditary, maybe?
monkey weapons. That's the only one that I can think of, and that's like pretty long ago at this point. And
Yeah.
so but yeah, I mean that's like the one that comes to mind as like the last one. I want to say there must be something more recent, but like I like the substance was more like cringe inducing than scary.
Right.
Like this I think was actually like somewhat terrifying at times for me, and I wouldn't say I'm like particularly scared, like a scared person, but this partly that experience, partly all sorts of other factors. But yeah, I don't think I would have maybe had that visceral of an experience if it wasn't for the audience and the the specific theater I was in and all this
Yeah.
stuff. But I definitely did like the movie totally.
Nice. That makes sense. I think my biggest takeaway, well, my biggest positive for the movie is definitely Indy Navarrete. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name, but the lead actress is like her performance is pretty amazing. Like she's
Yeah.
really, really great at playing like in just the everything she has to do in this movie without getting into specifics is pretty insane. And she's she covers a lot of different emotions and like just her performance is pretty incredible. I think she was absolutely the standout of the movie, and like 100% like this would be like a classic horror performance, I think.
Totally agree. And I think that the way that she's able to swap between those emotions too, just on like on the snap of a wrist, right? Whatever, in the middle of a scene, it's an
The
expression of
snap
dread.
of a wrist.
Yeah, you know? And
The
listen, in a
snap
horror movie, wrists
the
snap all the time.
the flick of a wrist, I think you're talking about.
That
The
could be
snap
it.
of a finger
Yes, yes.
on a dime.
On a dime, yes. And so that ability to like, go from one totally different expression that she's also really good at portraying to another totally different one that she's equally or if not even better at expressing. It's like, holy crap. And they're kind of
Yeah.
long shots. There's not a lot of like, I would say that the cinematography, there's pretty long shots and there's not a ton of like cutaways. And so the way like often you'll just be like looking at her for a long time or like watching her interaction, but it's not like it's cutting, then she's like in a different emotion. It's like you see that transition and it's pretty smooth. I think she does a pretty good job at that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, she's great.
yeah,
I Is there anything else you had to say about that, or I was gonna
I just want to say that she also does amazingly like uncanny facial expressions and movements in the movie that like linger in my unconscious now.
hmm.
The some of the movements, I'm like, I'm not sure if they did it in reverse or like CGI'd or something, but insane some of the movements that she did. So yeah, really, really bizarre. She did really well. And I also haven't seen her in anything before. I know she was in something kind of recent with like Dave Batista or something, I think, like an adventure movie or something. I don't remember what it was called,
Okay.
but
This was my first time seeing
yeah,
her, so she definitely stood out as pretty incredible performance.
totally. I agree. What
Yeah.
else you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say that some of the things that bothered me about the movie, one was the use of like jump scares and loud noises to startle. One of my least favorite things in horror movies. Especially if it's unmotivated. There's one in particular that is completely unmotivated, and it's literally just a character coming into frame, and there's just a loud, you know, non-diegetic noise, basically. If there's a loud noise and it's in the scene and it makes sense, then I can at least forgive it a little bit. But when it's completely just on the soundtrack and makes no sense and it's only there to startle me, it feels I find it to be cheap and annoying. And I know that happened at least once. This movie does not have a ton of jump scares, and there are genuinely creepy things going on aside from that. But I didn't like that. And there's one particular scene in the movie that I absolutely hated, and it probably brought the movie down an entire star for me. I thought it was I absolutely hated it. We can't talk about it in detail until spoiler section, but I thought it was awful, and I think I there are I've seen a lot of people saying the movie is misogynistic, and I don't fully agree with that because I do on the one hand it is completely from the male perspective, which but I think it does adequately show our main character being a complete doofus, and not we're not necessarily supposed to empathize with him, at least from how I was viewing it. But the movie definitely treats female characters extremely poorly and cruelly, and not does not do the same things with its male characters at all. Uh, and yeah, it's hard to get into that without getting into. But even beyond a gendered thing, there was just a cruelty and an inhumane nature to a particular scene that I found. Well, okay, and I found that really bothered me, and I think this is also potentially an issue with tone, because the movie's tone was kind of unclear to me to at how many moments were supposed to be like dark comedy as opposed to moments that were supposed to be taken seriously. There were several scenes where I was kind of like, I don't know if this is supposed to be scary or funny. And I think that scene in particular, uh, it just like I also had the same feeling of this is going on so long that I don't know, like, is this supposed to be funny? And yeah, so I hated that, and that kind of
Yeah.
ruined the movie basically. And by that point, I was already a little bit the movie's plot. I wish there was it was a little more fleshed out. I wish we got maybe to see other characters' perspectives aside from our main guy who's named Bear. He's a kind of annoying and like uh the movie, I wish the story had progressed in slightly different ways. It felt like it was kind of just repeating the same idea throughout for me. So then when this happened, I saw it coming, and then when it happened, I was uh yeah, I did not enjoy it. It was bad. I thought it was terrible. So yeah, that was not fun. Did not like that.
Yeah. Interesting. I think from all that context,
I
I think if anyone out there has already seen the movie and is waiting for the
Yes.
spoiler stuff, like I think we probably know what you're talking about. And
Yeah.
I'll say I'll say that I would say that generally there were moments where I was like, oh, am I supposed to be laughing or am I supposed to be horrified right now? And almost always though, I think like I don't think that scene was one for me, but I do think that when that happened, most of the time, my reaction was, oh, like just kind of like I'm grossed out. I'm upset. I don't know what to do. I'm reacting that way, right? Like I'm
Mm.
horrified, and then I'm kind of like, okay, I guess I could like laugh it off a little bit, maybe. Um, but the scene that you're maybe referring to for me was just pure horrible. Like not in
Mm.
a way that I hated the scene necessarily, but like I did not find I can't imagine they were going for comedy in that moment.
It went on so long that I didn't know how it could be interpreted any other way than trying to be comedic. And I have heard that apparently that scene was cut down in order to get an R rating and not an NC-17. And the fact that that is cut down is insane to me. That is the shortened version of that scene apparently.
I I do think so. Yeah, this scene has a lot of injuries going on, and this movie has a lot of injuries going on. And I
Yes.
think that what I read was that they did cut down stuff, but it was mostly in like self inflicted head smashing. Um,
Mm.
of like at times like somebody smacks a bottle on their head or like hits their head against a wall or something like that. So I don't know. I could totally be wrong from that, but anyways, regardless, there's like yeah, they did cut down on the gore and on
It
the horror here to get it to the R rating.
Yeah, which is pretty insane. It did remind me, and that scene in particular reminded me of Terrifier, which I've only seen the first one. I can't talk about Terrifier 2 or 3, but sort of just a trying to go as far as possible. This movie is more well constructed and well made than Terrifier 1. Terrifier 1 is kind of a cheaper, less well constructed movie, I'd say. But that kill felt like it could have been in uh Terrifier 1.
Mm. Yeah, interesting. I will say just to we I would love to go back to that in the spoiler section, but just
Yeah.
to veer back a little bit to tone.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I think the tone like I think one of the things that this movie tried to balance was definitely there's some moments that were like just funny, right? And some moments that were just horrible and horrific. But then I do think there are some that yeah, it does leave you wondering like what am I how am I supposed to be reacting right now? And I think that that can be a benefit at least like in the big theater experience for me with like everyone kind of reacting like everyone would like cringe and then like one person would give an awkward laugh and everyone would just be like okay and like so I think that actually maybe was a benefit to my experience but again not for that scene necessarily but I do think that there are moments where that confusion of like how you're supposed to react I think that that can help the reaction or can like aid in that sometimes so I think for me it was overall a positive to the tone but
I was like the beginning was played so straight and the concept is so horrible, especially for the mate for the Nikki, I guess, her character, that uh the idea of now we're supposed to be laughing at it was like kind of did not sit right with me, I guess.
Mhm.
So yeah, and yeah, well, we can talk more about it in spoilers, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was that stuff bothered me. And there's also a lot of yeah, it's just there's also we can talk about other stuff in spoilers. We can stay vague in this section.
So one thing that I'll say, just while we're still chatting in non-spoiler stuff,
Mhm.
is you brought up the misogyny, and I think it's interesting because the movie is about misogyny, right? Like the movie's about this guy trying to control her, right, and trying um he makes a wish to to control her feelings, right, and to take over her feelings and all that.
Take her away her autonomy and basically objectify her, not and you know, so he can use her however he wants without her consent or, her perspective or anything like that.
Yeah. So I think that I think there's a lot to this movie. Like I think ignoring that stuff that happens post spoiler stuff, right? Like I think that there's a lot that happens in this movie that like to me it feels like I mean I'm just I'm a guy, right? But like to me it does feel like it's actually trying to 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 confront misogyny in a way and like confront that stripping people of their autonomy and all that. Um So, like for me, I thought that the theming there worked for the most part. I do. When we get to spoilers, I do know what you're saying with that other thing, and I'm curious to talk more about that.
I
But yeah.
I think part of the reason people are seeing it that way, and I kind of see it that way, is that in a way, a lot of the scares for the first for the for the majority of the movie, the scares are look how creepy this girl is, and it plays on like like obsessive girlfriends and things like that, and it's like that's where the horror is coming from. Look how creepy this girl is. It's not look how terrifying this situation is for her, but it's actually look how terrifying it is for him to have to deal with her and deal with all these crazy things that are going on. And I have a comparison in a different way that we can talk about in spoilers, but it's almost like if you made Get Out but from the perspective of the family. And then all the scares were like, "Whoa, look how scary this black guy is. He's really mad at us. Like isn't that scary?" And I definitely see why, even though even if in that case in Get Out the family are still the villains, it's just being told from their perspective. Like it's still kind of like, "Oh, look how scary this black guy is." Obviously, and then in this it's like, oh, look how scary this lady is. And I think that is how some people are reacting to it is
Mm,
this is a creepy like obsessive girlfriend movie,
yeah. Which I mean, I
which it kind
think
of
that.
is partially.
Well, I think that's part of why I wasn't I didn't feel very into the idea of the movie, but I
Hmm.
do think I don't think I can really explain too much before spoilers on like my
Okay.
thoughts about that stuff. But
Yeah.
I do think that I think that take from the movie maybe strips it a little bit of some of its complexity that is introduced as spoilers later. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll talk about it in
yeah.
spoilers.
But
Uh
I mean, I don't know. I think at this point we are honestly just talking around spoilers so hard. It might be good to just give our ratings, jump
yeah.
into spoilers. I think one, a lot of people have seen this movie, which is great. It's getting a lot of hype. A lot of people are seeing it. Two, I would say if you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. I think, and I would recommend seeing it in theaters because as long as you don't go to Shane's theater, I think that seeing this in that dark setting, see it at night, go fuck yourself up for the night. That would be my recommendation. And I gave it 4.5 stars.
I gave it 2.5 stars. I would not recommend it to anyone who, aside from like horror fans, which horror fans probably don't need my recommendation. They're probably already have already seen it. But yeah, I definitely found it pretty distasteful and off-putting. And despite Indy Navarrette's performance, which is definitely the shining beacon in the movie for me. Like that was the best part. She was very impressive. But aside from that, I really had some problems with the movie. So 2.5 stars for me.
All right. Well, that is our spoiler-ish free-ish section. I think this movie is actually, I think it is hard to talk about super in depth without the spoilers, just because a lot of the stuff that gets revealed has to do with how you interpret it, right? Which is kind of the big thing here. Um, so I guess it's time to jump in. So if you haven't seen it yet, now's the time to turn
Yeah.
this off, go watch it in your theaters or don't. But we warned you, it's spoiler time.
Spoiler time. All right. Should we just talk about the scene?
I guess we can start. Yeah, I guess we can start
Oh,
there because it's already been brought up. So you're talking about the scene when she smashes through the window in the car
yes.
and
When
totally, yeah,
yeah, Sarah, I believe is the character's name, the
yeah,
other girl that works with Bear and Nikki, and she likes Bear for some reason. And he, sort of she does absolutely nothing wrong in the whole movie. And then really the first scene that she's really in, she gets her head smashed in about 20 times. Yeah, that's the scene.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty fucked up. It's it's horrible. But I mean, I guess that's the point, right? I don't know.
I found it so gratuitous that it was enjoying the movie and was enjoying the mutilation of it all because it's so excessive. And I thought that's where I was like, what is the point of showing more of this aside from a sick enjoyment of this like severe violence?
I I I I can see what you're saying. I think it might also be more of like look at how like this is like the worst part of the movie potentially, other than maybe what happens immediately after, right? Like this this is horrible. It's like this is the pinnacle of other everything in his life going wrong. Like this innocent person, right? Like he had no this, Sarah had no reason to die in this movie, but
And
because of his choices that he made, right?
yeah, and not to mention what are you doing going there? Also, I know I'm watching a horror movie, so I know she's gonna get murdered. Obviously, like this is obviously what's gonna happen in the scene when she's texting him at like 2 a.m. and it's like, oh, I can't text you. What's happening? Why? Well, the whole setup of the scene was idiotic to me that he would even go out and like this is she like fed you your dead cat, which is also a whole other section of the movie that whatever. But like I just thought the whole setup for it was ridiculous, and I thought it was really reveling in the violence in a way that I found like pretty disgusting. So yeah, I hated that scene.
Interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I can see hating that scene totally. I think for me, I just didn't feel like it was reveling in it. Like, I don't think anyone was supposed to feel good in that scene. I don't think anyone was supposed to like be like, "Whoa, that was so cool." I think it was just supposed to be certainly the most unsettling part of the movie, probably, or most gory and horrific part at least.
Mm.
Um, and
It
I
just
think
went
it
on
does.
so long that it almost I was like, is this supposed to be a comedic beat of it
Mm,
continuing on so long? It goes on and on and on.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess that's interesting. Maybe just because I was like so into the movie at that point that I really
Yeah.
just didn't even think that it was supposed to be like maybe it just didn't feel as long for me because I was just pretty invested,
Mm.
but yeah, no, I mean it is fucked up. It's horrible. But again, I think that's kind of the point, right? Like he, like look at the consequences of what he's done, right?
I guess so, yeah. And then also my can other thought with Get Out was I wish we almost I feel like Nikki is basically in the sunken place. And she's I don't know where she is when he calls, you can hear her voice. So I don't know if
Yeah.
her soul is if she's trapped in hell and or if she's trapped in her body in some sort of subconscious state, and there's this. It seems like a demon has possessed her because there's
Hmm.
the scene where it talks like when she says she's asleep, and you hear the real Nikki, begging to just die, uh, which was a very effective and creepy and sad scene. The only scene where we actually like hear from that perspective. But I kind of wish we could have like I wish there was just some perspective shift throughout the movie or some way the story took a turn. Like it kind of just felt like it was just a little bit one track for me. If we had seen what what is it like from Nikki's perspective to like experience this, or from the friend, whatever his name, Ian or something like that, the kind of yeah, Ian, or even the Sarah character who's very underdeveloped. Um, but yeah, if we had like seen her in the sunken place almost, that could have been cool. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of my where I was going also with the whole like you know, misogyny piece of this was that like it's not like she is a crazy girlfriend, right? Like I think that it seems like that, right, from the you know, whatever, the trailer and all this stuff. But because like what's really it's like a possession story, really, right? Like and uh so I don't know. I like to me it's like she's not like she's not supposed to represent a crazy girlfriend, right? Like she's supposed to represent the consequence of someone like stripping someone of their identity and their ability to do their own things, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Agree with that, but I also think some people will watch the movie as a oh, look how crazy this girl is, and that's kind of it if you are seeing it on kind of a surface level. And
Yeah,
that which is not necessarily the filmmaker's fault of people what we would say
not
is
engaging.
misinterpreting the movie or interpreting it in their own bad way. Like, can't really control that.
Right.
You could, if you make a, whatever, people could probably watch Avengers and be like, Thanos, I actually kind of liked him. It's like, well, you can't control how people react to everything like that. But I think the way the movie, like, like was so cruel to its female characters was where I was like, well, there may be a misogynistic streak in the movie as compared to the male characters who die actually in the most peaceful ways you could imagine of just getting shot in the head and dying immediately or taking sleeping pills as opposed to being slammed into a maybe a brick. Is she holding a brick and
I
slamming her head?
think so.
There's
Yeah.
something in front of
I
the
think
the
it's a brick,
steering
yeah.
wheel. And then all the mutilation that whatever Nikki does to herself or whatever the demon possessing her does to
Hmm.
her or whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely disproportionate, right? And I can definitely see that part. But yeah, I think that the interpretation, like the way that it treats the female characters is certainly awful, right? Absolutely. But I think that the interpretation of like this just being a crazy girlfriend movie, I think is uh maybe a lazy interpretation or like a not fully engaged interpretation, maybe, right? Um,
Yeah,
but
I see that, but I also understand why. I will say a lot of the reviews, at least I was looking on Letterboxd and seeing what people were saying, and a lot of the reviews calling the movie misogynistic were from women, and I definitely understand why women would be like, "Oh, so this dude directed a movie that stars a dude completely from his perspective, and all this horrible violence happens to female characters." Like, I
yeah,
understand why people would not want to see that or not appreciate that.
yeah, and I can see that. I think that the like disproportionate effect on the female characters in the movie and like the way that they're treated, I can see that piece of the argument there. Definitely, yeah. I think like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's rough. That is not
And,
great.
and here's the thing, just regarding the inner logic of the movie, of his wish is that she loves him more than anyone else in the world. And then she immediately digs up his dead cat, or like I guess makes like a some sort of a whatever shrine to it or something, and then digs it up and then cooks it and puts it in his lunch sandwich. And I'm like, why would that align with his wish?
Yeah, I don't think anything actually aligned because it's not even her, right? So she doesn't love him more than anything in the world because it's like a demon,
Right,
right?
right.
So I think that he's just getting fucked with by a demon. I think that's kind of the gist. Um, because yeah, I mean, like the cat thing is who in their right, well, not who in their right mind, but like nobody would. You
Yeah,
don't do that, right? Like,
yeah.
um, totally. So I think that he's not getting his wish. I
But
think
then,
that's the thing.
but then the Ian, I mean, who knows what would have happened? But he does the $1 billion thing, and the $1 billion just starts raining down, which also did seem like a comedic moment.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
but then, yeah. Anyway, but who knows what would have happened after that if there would have been negative consequences in the future for that wish as well. But like normally in this story construct, it's like they find loopholes where it's like, well, technically this still applies. But I feel like this movie, they're kind of just like, nah, this doesn't really apply at all. Or this doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily apply.
yeah. I think that yeah, and I think for Ian, I think that it's like, yeah, you got your $1 million, but you did immediately die. Like you died before you got any benefit from having $1 million.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He could have just gotten the $1 million and not gone over there.
But but it but maybe that was just like maybe that was already predetermined, right?
I guess. It seems unrelated to the wish to me.
But
Like it would be like if he got the $1 million and then he was driving to, well, I don't know. He just got in a car crash and died.
he went over to Bear's house to get him to go use the money, right? He was carrying money and he was like, "Come on, we gotta. I got a
He's like,
billion,
it's,
$1 million. We gotta go." You know,
yeah.
I think yeah, like I think that that was like the irony and the consequence of that wish was that he just like immediately fucking died, right? Which not that it
It was interesting
justified. Yeah.
because I almost saw the comedy of that scene as uh he tried to make a wish and look how horrible it's gone for him, and then this other guy makes a wish and it's just money raining down, and it's like the joke is that, oh, this worked out perfectly. You know, it's not like he wished for $1 billion and then a sinkhole, like his house sunk into the ground and a billion, whatever. Like it all worked out for him, and that was the
Mm,
why it was funny.
interesting. Yeah, I assumed it was just because like I mean that was funny too that he just got him like that was funny. It just
It was
literally rained.
raining
There was
off of screen, yeah.
yeah from
Uh,
like from the roof like but
Yeah, it must have been appearing like in the below the
yeah
ceiling.
and so I did think that was just like a funny moment where it rained down. But then I also thought that the like once he got killed, I was like, oh, that's the reason that the wish actually worked is because like he was about to die, you know. Um,
Mm,
but I mean, I don't know for like I don't know, right? Like I don't know what the logic of the wish is, right?
right.
Um,
Yeah.
like it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't make I don't know, it doesn't make much sense.
Maybe I just wish like
No,
I
no,
just
no,
feel
don't
like the
wish.
story could, oh yeah, true. I if I would have preferred if the movie had like gone, maybe he like meets someone else who has done a wish and sees what's, or something like that, or just go somewhere. It felt very one track to me.
Mm.
And I kind of like didn't like the story didn't have many surprises for me aside from like the details of how gory and horrific it could be, I guess.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I feel like the idea of like I feel like there's so many movies where it's like there's this haunted thing that happens, or like you get cursed, and it's like you got to go hunt down the last person that had it, or the
Mm,
last, and how did they survive? And then and honestly, I think that trope is like anytime I see a movie with that trope, I kind of just get immediately annoyed, even if it's like an older movie. Um, but I mean, I do see what you're saying that it's pretty like one track. I think to me,
Also,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
do want to say, sorry to cut you off. I think the guy who owns the whatever crystal shop or whatever that is, I believe he's the owner. When he goes back, remember he has all the blood on him and he goes back and he tries to like,
Mm-hmm.
I forget exactly, but that guy says he already used his wish
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't seem like anything bad has happened to him. So
True.
I wonder what was his wish? What happened? How did that work out for him?
Well, yeah, maybe that's the thing is like if you wish for something good, right? Whatever, right? The one wish willow maybe isn't a there's not always a consequence to it. But if you're I'm just guessing, right? But like if you wish for something like literally controlling how someone feels and taking away their autonomy, the demon's just gonna fuck with you, you know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think that yeah, you're right. Like maybe there's not always a consequence, and so maybe Ian would have gotten $1 million if he just didn't go across the street. I don't know, but
Maybe.
I will
Yeah.
say to me, some of the surprises in the movie were more that like that she was actually possessed, right? Like she wasn't actually uh
Yeah.
um just obsessed, right? Or whatever. Was a big one. Uh
Yeah, because it was an interesting turn to where it's actually not her. Like there's clear there's two different spirits. Then there's an evil spirit that is possessing her, and she's sort of suppressed. And they make
yeah,
it pretty clear that that's what's happening. And it's not just like her feelings have changed. Um,
right.
so yeah. And then I did actually I liked the ending in a way. I thought it was kind of clever, but I also felt a little bit unsatisfied by it. Um, because I liked the idea of her using the wish and then that makes him fall in love, but then he's already taken the pills, so he dies, and then she gets out of it at the end. And then like the movie just ends with her just after I'd gone through this the worst imaginable situation, and we don't really know what's like what does she do? How does she deal with it? I don't know. I I guess that's not the story being told or whatever, but I just felt a little bit like, oh well, what's she gonna do now?
Yeah. I feel like the next thing for her is just more fuck. Like she's just still fucked. Like
Yeah, there's a
she's
bunch of dead people around.
she's traumatized. She's going to jail maybe. Like
Yeah,
I think that the consequence of what he did lasts after him, right? Like I think that's maybe the point there. Um but yeah, I mean, I think that like to me the ending is so bleak because it's like you see her all alone there. She obviously she's screaming for a second, but also like yeah, she's just left with this huge mess that there's like so much physical evidence that she was a part of and all this stuff and whatever, right? And like she's so fucked. Like what do you even do? Like do you go on the run? I don't know what you do. But
I don't know. Does she is she aware that there's $1 billion at Ian's house?
maybe I mean, he had money in his hands, right? So maybe she knows that there's at least that she can grab. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
she one way or the other, even if you're on the run, right? Like that sucks. I
Oh
imagine,
yeah. Oh yeah,
right?
definitely. Um,
But yeah,
yeah.
so like for me, like the ending was so bleak and um sort of left me just sitting in the theater for a minute, and I was like, God damn, that that sucks. Like there's really no reprieve, no justice for her at all, right? Like even
Yeah.
again, like this guy's gone. He's fucking killed himself, and she still has to live with all these consequences of everything horrible that just happened.
Yeah. And then I wonder where yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it was definitely a bleak ending.
Yeah,
I think the movie just totally lost me. It just felt like a cruel movie. Yeah.
I think I think in some ways it is. Well, I think in many ways it is just a cruel movie, right? But I see what you're saying. Like that's that can one be, you know, I think like with the disproportionate amount of violence to women, that can be problematic for sure, and also it can just be unsatisfying and horrible, and that's fair too. But
Yeah. Also, another small thing. They after the wish, there's a montage that shows them like doing couple things, and
yeah,
then he like gets tired of it, and he's kind of like sick of her eventually. And I was like, oh, okay, this is like months have passed, and then we're back in the story, and it seems like a week has passed or something. It was the montage made it seem like a lot of time has passed. And then as soon as we're back in a normal scene, the friend is making it seem like this is his first time talking to him. Like, like it's only been a few days.
yeah,
So I thought that was kind of, I guess maybe he already had gotten sick of her.
yeah. Maybe
But
it, you
yeah,
know, his wish didn't like even when it wasn't turning bad, he was already like, is this really what I wanted to wish for? right?
Mm.
Um, yeah, I don't. I do agree. After that montage, I was also a little confused on the timeline there, but yeah, I don't know. I will say it's interesting that well, like one thing that's interesting in this movie is one, this fucking schlop, right? Like Bear one had somebody that actually appreciated him and like, you know, clearly liked him and wanted to like whatever, like be closer with him, right? Like whatever, who cares about whether that became romance or whatever? I mean, clearly he did, but like I don't know. He had friends, he had that. Like, dude, chill, you know. But also, he never actually even tells her that he likes her, right? Like she's like in the car, she's like
Yeah.
she says, you know, this is the time to tell me if you like me, and he's like, and then she leaves, and I think she even comes back, and she's like, do you say something, right? Or was I forget exactly, but
I think she comes back after the wish.
okay, and then but
Yeah.
yeah, he wishes instead of even just confront. So like this guy is so like unable to confront that feeling that he chooses to make a like choose to approach it in this like stupid like even if he thought it wasn't real like uh mystical way, right? He chooses to approach it this way instead of just like confronting it or like or whatever. Like what a moron. This guy like he doesn't even bother telling her. Like she might have actually liked him, you know, like they could have like maybe had a relationship. Like I'm not saying that is what would have happened, but like he didn't know until he wouldn't have known until he asked. I mean, he's probably
Right.
this guy is such a fucking idiot that he probably would have still made the wish after she told him no. He probably still would have fucking done it. But either way, he
Mm.
doesn't even get that chance. He's like, I don't even need to ask. I'm just gonna do it, you know. And that's
Mm.
I think that's like one ironic, but also just kind of adds to my dislike for the character, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he definitely is sort of like infatuated with her, but also she clearly doesn't like him. There's two times where I forget the exact like dialogue, but she says ew like twice in
Mm,
response to something regarding like that. I forget exactly the context of it, but she's like, ew, no, what are you talking about? Or something like that. And it's like, oh yeah, clearly she's not interested. That seems pretty obvious. And this other girl clearly is. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he was a stupid, annoying character. Also, apparently his Ian they'd been hooking up for 2 years
yeah.
on and off, and he had no idea. And there's only four people that work at this like record shop or wherever they work, and he had no idea.
Oh, well, here's the thing too. Here's a question: how old are these characters?
Mm. I believe they're supposed to be like early to mid 20s, maybe like 24, 25.
Because like one's applying to art school.
Oh. Is that Sarah?
Yeah,
Okay. And then
and they
Nikki,
they work at like
it,
her dad's place too. Like that radio shop is owned by Sarah's dad.
oh,
But we also never see parents.
I
And
know.
I think that the here's my thing is I think the age and this actually bothered me at first, but I think the age is supposed to be ambiguous. I think that because he acts like a fucking idiotic child, that they wanted to leave like the age a little ambiguous because like that is in a way what he comes off as is this like nebulous dumb kid version of him. So like is he in the mid 20s? Is he
Mm.
earlier than that? Whatever. Um I think that realistically she's probably going to like some grad school program for art or something. But I did think that it was interesting that it didn't seem obvious how old they were and that it actually seemed at times contradicting. But
Right. And they all go to a bar and drink
right,
on
right.
trivia night. So I'd imagine I guess that's why I assumed they were all over 21. I
That
guess
makes sense.
theoretically, maybe in a small town, there's this bar illegally serves people, probably not. But he lives on his own. Uh,
Yeah.
Do they address his parents at all of like if they are alive or
No.
anything? Yeah. So,
But yeah,
yeah.
and like so, but he really does like act like a kid, and this is part of why I didn't really like the writing in the early part two and everything necessarily, is that it just felt so much like I don't like he just felt like a child and whatever, and really like his whole like thing in the movie is like looking scared the whole time, and like
Hmm.
you know I think that his character is pretty uh you know under maybe not even underdeveloped, but just like undeveloped, which
Kind of one-dimensional.
yeah, there we go. One dimensional is a good way to say it. But and so I think maybe like, you know, having the I don't know, whatever. But I did think that was curious where I was like, how old are they supposed to be and all
Yeah.
that stuff? But ultimately that didn't affect too much for me, but I was confused by that.
Yeah. I get that. Also, his name is Baron, and then they call him Bear throughout the movie, which I just found well, I think it's supposed to be funny, but it was kind of annoying. They kept calling him Bear. It was almost like a pet nickname it came off as, but apparently that's his name. Is anyone named Baron go by Bear? Is that a thing?
No idea.
I
But
don't know. I don't know anyone named Baron except Baron Trump, who I don't know, but is a person named Baron.
probably does not go by bear.
Probably not.
But yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, good question. But also, yeah, his name being Baron and Bear, both are like a bear is like a you know an oppressive giant thing, right? Like something that is
Hmm.
aggressive and violent, and and a baron is like a ruler and also
Yeah.
somewhat related to authoritarianism and stuff like this, right? And I think that that is part of. I think that that is his character, right? He's supposed to be
He's kind of the opposite of that because he's so meek and pathetic. But that's almost it's still dangerous, the his like mindset, but he's not physically like
not physically,
intimidating.
not
Yeah.
physically, but he does he uses power to control someone, right? That's essentially what he does. Even when he has the choice to like turn back the not the choice, but he tries to turn back the witch. He never actually wants to turn it back. He's like, can I alter the wish, right? I still
Mm,
want her to love me unconditionally, but I don't want her to be weird, right? And he tells her, and he has Cox. He's like, you gotta stop doing the weird stuff, right? And it's like
yeah.
he never wants to go back on it until like literally
But
everything is collapsed.
yeah, but he is more of a pathetic incel archetype than a like alpha abusive archetype, which the movie is critiquing. It's critiquing the air quote nice guy archetype, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I still think that he is inherently abusive, right? Like,
Right.
yeah,
Well, yeah, if you like demonically possess a woman,
yeah,
yes, what you're doing is horrible. But he you see like he's there's a patheticness to him, and
yes,
he's not physically intimidating or anything like that.
right.
And I feel like them calling him bear sounded to me almost like a teddy bear, like he it sounded like a
Oh,
little bit of a pathetic little name, like a little kid.
interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the point is that it can both be a teddy bear, like he seems,
Yeah,
but
there you go.
also an aggressive, abusive bear, right? Like maybe that's the point. Because I do know, like, yeah, I think you're right that it's trying to critique like the nice guyisms, right? Like whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that
Th-
that's to show that they can still be abusive and that that is not a good person.
Right, yeah, because he doesn't he literally objectifies her, obviously,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I just don't think he does not come off as a bear. Come, you know what I mean? To me.
Yeah, right. I see what you're saying. I think that maybe it's trying to say that even though he doesn't come off that way, he still can be
Well, what he is ultimately
that way.
worse than a bear.
Well, yeah.
But in a way, he's like a bear is just acting on instinct, but it's scary looking. He's almost the inverse of that. Of he appears to be meek, and he is meek in a way. Like he is like not imposing at all.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
actually never even, I don't think, physically aggressive toward her. He's always running away
Hmm.
and like afraid and scared. Um, So yeah, but I don't think I just think the movie is also critiquing that, but it's a different type of like it would be maybe more obvious if it was like this guy is a traditional uh like hyper masculine toxic version of an abusive male character, but this is like a different version of that, or not a
Right.
different version of that, but a
No, I
different
know what you mean.
version of a you know
Different type of bear.
yeah, a different way that men can objectify women and not uh you know uh not value their autonomy or think of them as human beings beyond like, oh, can I date her?
Yeah, totally.
But
Yep.
so yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
I think I said my piece about the movie. Kind of went
Nice.
rambling. Yeah, yeah, it is what it is.
I will say one thing just before we close off. Made for $1 million. And
Okay.
then obviously the marketing, all that got picked up by Focus Features and they poured like 15 million or something. I don't know, whatever. There's a lot more money in the marketing, but it was made for only $1 million, which is kind of cool. Because I feel like they do some pretty horrific stuff and it all looks pretty legit
Mm.
and pretty good feat right there.
Yeah, yeah, and that could also be an element of why things felt so one-dimensional in the story
Yeah.
to me, and that you're using limited locations and limited characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think this movie actually looks so good. Cinematography, right? Like effects and all this stuff and acting and everything that I think it can be easy to not recognize this as like a low budget movie. Um, but yeah, I mean it is, right? And I think they had to put their resources kind of where they wanted to or where they chose to, right?
Yeah,
So,
it would have been nice if they spent a little extra on more lights, in my opinion.
yeah.
Just kidding. Uh,
I think maybe your theater just needed less light.
no, but it's interesting because I knew that was a problem and it was a problem, but I also looked at the images, like for example, the backdrops on Letterboxd, and the movie is extremely dark. Like there are shots where faces are barely visible, even just with completely normal lighting, aside from my messed up theater experience.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
there are some times when she's supposed to be silhouetted, right? And like and
yeah, there.
but yeah.
That's the thing. There were times where it seemed like there's this one where she's outside of the front door.
Yeah, you're not
I
supposed to see what she looks like, I
But
think.
like in this, you can see her face a little bit.
Yeah, I think, on the the like screenshot of it. But
Yeah,
like in my theater experience, she was pretty much just a blur of silhouette, like
interesting. So
yeah.
maybe yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I also, what did you think about the scene where she was like, it was in the middle of the night and she was like running around the room and like doing all that stuff and she held the flowers in front of her face and like what did you think of that scene?
That was weird as that was scary as fuck. I was terrified.
Interesting. I thought it was like weird and uncanny, and then the like flower in front of the face. It was that was another one where I'm like, is this supposed to be funny? Am I supposed to be laughing at this, or what? It was yeah,
Interesting. I would say I did not think I was. I mean, that scene was legitimately was very scary for me. I think the obviously with her being in the corner and the way that
yeah.
she responds and stuff too. Other than the way that she like does that uncanny walk and crawl, not crawl, but like backwards walk type thing,
Mhm.
um, was bizarre. And then the flower thing just felt like another, yeah, scary piece to me. I don't think that was a moment where I thought it might have been funny, but I can see. I mean, it is flowers holding in front of your face, right? So goofy on the surface, but I think because I was already so like scared from that whole scene, I think that did not come off as a humorous one for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the only time I laughed during the movie was when I was actually right after she murdered Sarah, and then I
Oh fuck.
believe no. After that, I forget if it was. I think it's in the car, and she's like consoling him because he's like
Yeah,
traumatized, and then she's like, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay. This is all your fault." And when she
yeah,
said that, I laughed just because I was like, "Well, yeah, it is all his fault."
totally.
I thought that was a funny line.
Yeah. I thought the money raining down was pretty funny. I thought yeah, I don't know. There was definitely some moments where I laughed. But overall, I mean, overall, I think this movie weighed much more on the scary side for me than on the funny side. But there was funny
Yeah,
moments for sure, I thought. But
I get that, but yeah,
um
yeah, that, some of the character decisions too, which is a common thing in horror movies, but yeah, the yeah, anyway, just even the inciting incident of him using it. I know he has to use it, but I'm like, why would you do that? Because I don't think he thinks it's real. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Did you I obviously he didn't think it was a real thing.
right.
So
Um yeah, I mean, I think but he certainly did actually want her to love him with every like I think that he would have made that wish thinking it would have been real too,
maybe, yeah,
you know.
but I just can't imagine. Yeah, anyway. Just
I mean, I can't imagine that either because
if,
I would never do
but
that.
why would you use this wish? Why would you this like kitschy little stupid thing? Anyway, but I can't imagine like using a Ouija board or anything. Like you're just stupid at that point if you're doing that. Why are you doing that? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's my
Well,
takeaway. Don't use
one
things
wish
that don't
willows.
try to conjure spirits and make wishes and stuff like that. Maybe don't do that.
Yeah, that doesn't ever seem to work out well for people in
L-
movies.
Literally never.
Yeah.
Never a single time really. So yeah.
Um yeah. Well, I will say I'm bummed you didn't have a good experience. I think
Yeah.
yeah, I think I thought it was awesome. I thought it was terrifying, also quite a bit of fun. Like again, my theater experience was pretty enjoyable. Um
Yeah.
I liked it thematically. I liked it I liked the scenes for the I think like that bedroom scene I think will stick with me for a while actually, you know. I think there's some some stuff that totally did it for me and uh bummer.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's
Yeah.
no weapons, in my opinion.
Wow. Yeah, I think this I think for me this one was better. But I don't know actually. No, yeah, I think this was probably better than Weapons.
Wow. Yeah, see, I would not agree with that at all, obviously.
Yeah. I think it was definitely scarier than Weapons, and I think better or not is a little bit tougher, but I think I would maybe say better. But
Wow. That
yeah.
see, I appreciated the story like the all the different perspectives and weapons, and I thought the balance of the comedy and horror in that worked a lot better.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that this was like Weapons was probably a better balanced movie. You know, like it had more in it. But I think this one is just trying to, I think this is really just trying to do the one thing, and I think it does it really well for me. But
Good. Well, I'm glad you liked it.
yeah,
There's
bummer,
obsession.
bummer. Yeah, I will say Shane is not obsessed with this one.
No, no. I'm glad to be done with obsession.
Um, yeah, you know, usually when we have these ones that we don't agree on, usually I'm like, ah, whatever, you know. But this one, I'm like, something about this one really, I don't know if I was expecting you to like it. I think you know what it is I just had such low expectations going in, and I
Hmm.
left on such a high with it that I was like, who would
Yep.
not like it? But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you pointed out some very valid things, I think. And I think we also just don't agree on all of it too, which is fine. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sorry to be the Debbie Downer on
no,
this
that's
one.
I mean, hey, if anything, this movie is probably the Debbie Downer. It has like the
Oh
bleakest
yeah.
ending in the world. It's fucking, you know, everyone's dead and it's awful. So
Yeah, definitely. And there are probably some people out there that agree with me on this one.
I'm sure. Yeah, I think absolutely. I think I
If you
will
go on
say,
if you go on Letterboxd and you sort by lowest rating, you'll find people that agree.
yeah, that's always the way to find the the most I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I will say the consensus. So we already gave our ratings, but
Oh yeah.
real quick, I do the rating recap. The consensus here is pretty high right now. It is only like 5 days after it came out or something. So we're uh right now we're a little early on this, but it has a 4.2 on Letterboxd, 4.2 out of 5, 95% Rotten Tomatoes critic score, and 94% audience score, and an 8.2 out of 10 on Letterboxd. Sorry, on IMDb. So it comes out with an
Oh my.
8.875 average recap, which is very high for oh my gosh, that ties with Metropolis for our highest recaps.
That's insane. That's insane. This will drop. Check back
Yes.
in a month. This thing better not be that high. I'm sorry. That's absolutely insane.
I do agree that that this will drop for sure. I don't think that this is uh this right now says it's the one, two, three, four. It's tied for the fifth best movie we've ever watched according to our recap, which has its own flaws, but also that's insane. I do think as much as I enjoyed this movie, this and like also right now I think this is in the top 500 on Letterboxd, and like I that won't
Yeah.
I don't imagine that stays. Um,
No.
I think I'm actually surprised by it seems like a good amount of people that aren't actually into horror are enjoying the movie, and it's getting a pretty wide audience, which is I think surprising. This is a pretty horrific movie, so
Yeah. I guess we'll see what Curry Barker have anything cooking right now? Is he work? Does anyone know what his next project is?
I don't think so. But I'll tell you what, he's gonna have a next project.
Oh
I think
yeah.
somebody is gonna dump money into this guy, and he'll make something really big.
Well, I'll tell you what. Oh no, that's as an actor. Interesting. There's something that he is in post-production. Oh, he directed it as well. It's in post-production. A movie produced by Blumhouse. Is this also Blumhouse?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called Anything But Ghosts, and it's in post-production. It's on IMDb right here, directed by Curry Barker. It says
Wow.
the want to hear the IMDb description?
Yeah.
Two fake paranormal investigators must face actual ghosts while dealing with the deception of their own fraudulent business.
Interesting.
Anything but ghosts.
Interesting.
See, that
I
seems a little more comedic potentially.
That sounds like it'll be, yeah, it'll have some ironies and comedy. We'll see.
But yeah, there you go. So I mean, it's in post production. It could be out like next year.
Yeah, I that's interesting because that also means, I mean, this was probably already acquired by Focus Features, maybe when they were making it, I guess, when they were making anything but Ghosts. But it feels like that might not have necessarily the big backing that you'd expect in the production of it, maybe in the distribution and like the marketing. But I think like after this, I think people are going to expect the next thing's going to have like a huge budget or something like that. And that might not be the case because it's kind
It's
of
already
already
been shot.
right. So I will say that might be a surprise to people when that comes out.
I could see that. And I mean, that's sort of happened with, it's funny. Curry Barker and Zach Kreger, kind of similar paths, started in sketch comedy, made, Kreger made Barbarian, which was great. And, you know, then, then Weapons was next. And now Resident Evil, I believe, comes out in September,
Mm-hmm.
which I think he like made pretty quickly right after, Weapons. I think he shot it after Weapons came out, I believe. So pretty quick turnaround on that one. But kind of similar path potentially. And
Yeah.
maybe so if Resident Evil is his third movie, maybe Curry Barker has the second movie, and then his third one will be a bigger thing, like you're saying.
Yeah. I can see that. I think that I think that this guy's gonna get a lot of money dumped into him at some point, and I mean that's kind of already happened. They, this was a big acquisition from Focus Features, so that's cool. But
Yeah, well, good for them, I guess. Whatever. I'll tell you what, I didn't like it as much as Weapons. I liked it more than Terrifier.
That's fair. I think I am yeah, I cannot get over that this is tied for our fifth highest of all time. I
Yeah, that's shocking.
that that obviously
Just so people know, some of the movies we've covered are we covered Akira recently. We've covered Rear Window. We've covered a lot of all-time great movies. My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away.
well here
Uh,
this will probably kill you. Here's the top five. Um we've got Rear Window is our first number one,
okay.
Spirit Away number two, Project Hail Mary is number three, Paris, Texas is number four,
Mm.
and then Metropolis and Obsession are tied for number five. So even just there, it's paired up with Paris, Texas, and Spirit Away and Rear Window. Um, it and Metropolis and Akira is quite down the list, unfortunately, and so's Do the Right Thing,
Oh yeah.
um, Tokyo Godfathers. So
After Hours we've covered.
yeah, like we've covered a lot of pretty awesome movies, ones that I think yeah, I'd like
House.
yeah. Yeah, this is for example not a movie. We have quite a few movies now that we've both given 5 stars. So even just from our own perspectives, we've
Yeah.
got 12 movies that we've both given 5 stars. And uh yeah,
This is
so
rated higher than almost all of them.
yeah, those
Crazy.
12: Rear Window, Project Hail Mary, My Neighbor Totoro, Warfare, Do the Right Thing, Marcel the Shell, House, The Incredibles, What's Up Doc, After Hours, Riders of Justice, and Fantastic Mr. Fox. Only two of those are ranked higher than this by our metric
Yeah,
system.
that's
So
very silly. Oh, luckily this rating will come down.
yeah,
Things always start off a little high.
although it is locked in on our spreadsheet.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
That's what happens when we do the early reviews. I'm curious if like Project Hail Mary's come down, but that's locked in too. So,
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
so
Interesting. All right.
I
Well,
think
thanks
that's
for
pretty much
sticking
it.
around. If anyone has stuck around, thank you.
We're just yapping at this point.
Yeah, this might as well not even be in the episode. Uh, all right, this was kind of a longer half episode. We had a lot to talk about. Hopefully, people appreciated hearing about Obsession. So you can follow us on Letterboxd. Mind Your Movies, all one word. You can find our account, and then both of our individual accounts are linked in the bio. And if you want to search for them, it's like S Barlow 3 and then Ryan T Kirby. I think all one word, both those. Those are our individual accounts. We also, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe and give us a like. We would appreciate it. If you're on the podcast apps, you can give us 5 stars. We would also very much appreciate that. You can go and if you really vehemently disagree with me or Ryan, you can tell us why under our letterbox reviews for Obsession. Or if you agree with us, you can actually be nice and agree with us.
Yeah.
Um,
Or share this with people and be like, look at these podcasters said the same thing that you did, or said,
yeah. Look, one of these guys is an idiot and the other one's a genius, in whichever
yeah,
way
let
that,
them figure out.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
totally.
but yeah, subscribe and stick around because next week will be fun. Memento Stellar, and then we have like some cool stuff coming out in the next few weeks. So we'll stay tuned. We've got some big movies coming out this summer. Um, Anything else you want to say, Ryan?
Nah, that's it.
Don't forget to mind your movies.